Good afternoon and welcome to Midday Prime. I'm Amritpal Singh. Over the next 1 hour, we bring you all the stories and updates from India and around the world. We'll update you about the happenings in the world of business and sports, and we'll also get you some interesting stories that are making the headlines. But first up, the big news we're tracking at this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi performs the Rudra Abhishek in Kedarnath temple, inaugurates 12 feet tall statue of Adi Guru Shankaracharya, says the restoration of Shankaracharya's Samadhi is a site of India's spiritual prosperity. Prime Minister also lays the foundation stones and dedicates to the nation various developmental projects in Kedarnath. Many union ministers and chief ministers witnessed the unveiling of the statue of Adi Shankaracharya in Kedarnath. Grand events held in 12 Jyotirlings across the country. Anurag Singh Thakur in Jwalamukhi, Jitendra Singh was in Srinagar, Dr. Murugan in Chennai and Yogi Adityanath in Gorakhpur witnessed Prime Minister's special prayers via video conferencing. World leaders joined global Diwali celebrations. US President Joe Biden tweets pictures celebrating Diwali with the First Lady of the US. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson greets people, says Britain is incomplete without Indians. The WHO, the World Health Organization, warns Europe is on the cusp of another massive COVID-19 outbreak as numbers soar all across the continent. UK gives permission to the first oral COVID-19 vaccine. And in cricket, India to take on spirited Scotland. The 2020 World Cup in UAE today. In another match, Namibia will take on New Zealand. And let's begin the show with the big news we're tracking at this hour. In a historic moment, Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid the foundation stones and dedicated to the nation various developmental projects in Kedarnath. He also inaugurated the Shri Adi Shankaracharya Samadhi and unveiled the statue of Shri Adi Shankaracharya.
स्थल अब उसके अनावरण का समय आ चुका है। एक बार फिर से इसको बनाया गया और इस वक्त आप देख रहे हैं आपकी स्क्रीन पर पहली बार ये तस्वीरें पूरी दुनिया के साथ।
बाबा केदार के दर्शन के साथ ही अभी मैंने आदि शंकराचार्य जी की समाधि स्थान वहां कुछ पल मैंने बिताए। एक दिव्य अनुभूति का वो पल था। सामने बैठते ही लग रहा था कि आदि शंकर की आंखों से वो तेज पुंज, वो प्रकाश पुंज प्रवाहित हो रहा है जो भव्य भारत का विश्वास जगा रहा है। शंकराचार्य जी की समाधि एक बार फिर और अधिक दिव्य स्वरूप के साथ हम सबके बीच है।
The Prime Minister said that the meaning of Shankara is one who does welfare. Speaking of Lord Adi Shankaracharya, he said that his extraordinary life embodied the very meaning of his name.
आप जानते हैं कि शंकर का संस्कृत में अर्थ बड़ा सरल है। शंकर का अर्थ संस्कृत में होता है शम करोति स शंकर, यानी जो कल्याण करे वही शंकर है। इस कल्याण को भी आचार्य शंकर ने प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाणित कर दिया था। उनका पूरा जीवन जितना असाधारण था, उतना ही वो जनसाधारण के कल्याण के लिए समर्पित थे। भारत और विश्व के कल्याण के लिए अहरनिश अपनी चेतना को समर्पित करते रहते थे।
Apart from this, he also inaugurated several key infrastructure projects that have been completed, including the Saraswati retaining wall, Astha Path and the Ghats, Mandakini retaining wall, Astha Path, Tirth Purohit houses and Garud Chatti bridge on the Mandakini river. He also reviewed and inspected the executed and the ongoing infrastructure works. Prime Minister said that the wall constructed at the banks of Mandakini river will ensure a safe pilgrimage to the people visiting, and the stays constructed will benefit the priests in all climatic conditions. He added that the new projects inaugurated will benefit the pilgrims visiting the Kedarnath temple and make their pilgrimage easier.
मंदाकिनी के किनारे बाढ़ से सुरक्षा के लिए जिस दीवार का निर्माण किया गया है, इससे श्रद्धालुओं की यात्रा अब और सुरक्षित होगी। तीर्थ पुरोहितों के लिए नए बने आवासों से उन्हें हर मौसम में सुविधा होगी। भगवान केदारनाथ की सेवा उनके लिए अब कुछ सरल होगी, कुछ आसान होगी। पर्यटक सुविधा केंद्र का निर्माण हो, यात्रियों की और इस इलाके के लोगों की सुविधा के लिए आधुनिक अस्पताल हो, सारी सुविधाओं वाला अस्पताल हो, रेंज सेंटर हो, ये सभी सुविधा श्रद्धालुओं की सेवा का माध्यम बनेगी। उनके तीर्थाटन को अब कष्ट से मुक्त, केदार से युक्त, जय भोले के चरणों में लीन होने का यात्रियों को एक सुखद अनुभव होगा।
At the Kedarnath temple, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi offered prayers, observing full rituals. He sought the blessings of Lord Shiv at the Kedar Dham for the 4th time since taking office in 2014. This is his first visit since the COVID pandemic struck last year.
A Shiv Bhakt like none other, Prime Minister Narendra Modi offered darshan at Kedarnath Dham for the 4th time since taking oath. After being welcomed by the head Purohit or priest at the Kedarnath temple, Prime Minister offered prayers in the Garbhagriha or Sanctum Sanctorum. This is Prime Minister's first visit to Kedarnath after the COVID pandemic. As he bowed his head before the benevolent Lord Shiva, Prime Minister prayed for a new beginning, a quick recovery of the nation and the world from the worst global pandemic in over a century. The Aarti marked the culmination of the puja. After receiving the blessings of Lord Shiva came the parikrama around Nandi. Nandi is the divine bull, the vehicle of Lord Shiva. He guards the entry gate to the abode of Shiva, and no puja is complete without seeking his blessings as well. Kedarnath temple is a part of Char Dhams and Panch Kedar in Uttarakhand and one of the 12 Jyotirlings of Lord Shiva. According to legend, the Pandavas, after having won over the Kauravas in the Kurukshetra war, felt guilty of having killed their own kith and kin and sought blessings of Lord Shiva for redemption. He eluded them repeatedly and while fleeing took refuge at Kedarnath in the form of a buffalo. On being followed, the Lord dived into the ground, leaving his hump on the surface at Kedarnath. This also explains the shape of the temple. (2017, 2018 and 2019), Prime Minister misses no occasion to pay obeisance to Lord Shiva at Kedar Dham, and 2021 is no different. With Vishal Baristo in Kedarnath, Bureau Report, DD India.
And the Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Anurag Singh Thakur, watched the live telecast of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Kedarnath visit from the Jwalamukhi of Himachal Pradesh. He said that Prime Minister's initiative is not only providing momentum to the development of Kedarnath, but also to the development of Uttarakhand.
लगभग 400 करोड़ रुपए के काम केदारनाथ में जो हुए हैं, इससे एक बार फिर वहां पर जाने वाले श्रद्धालुओं के लिए बहुत बड़ी सुविधा भी मिली है। आदि गुरु श्री शंकराचार्य जी की पहले से बड़ी प्रतिमा का अनावरण भी हुआ है और जो चार धाम की यात्रा करने वाले श्रद्धालुओं के लिए सड़क का नेशनल हाईवे के जो बड़ा हजारों करोड़ रुपए का काम चल रहा है, उससे बहुत बड़ा लाभ मिलेगा। वहां पे रहने की सुविधा पहले से बेहतर की गई है।
And the Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting, Dr. L. Murugan, visited the Rameshwaram temple in Tamil Nadu. The minister witnessed Prime Minister's special prayers via video conferencing at the Kedarnath temple in Uttarakhand. And Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh also offered special prayers in Srinagar in the wake of Prime Minister Modi's visit to Kedarnath in Uttarakhand.
ओम सर्वमंगल मांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके के त्रिनेत्र के गौरी नारायणी नमस्ते सो दुग्ध जल स्नानं समर्पयामि। ओम नमो भक्ति महाराज। ओम नमो प्रातः पठेन सत्यजम कृतं पापम विनश्यति अहिंस सर्वांच वस्ते सर्वाची आसुधान होय असो यो सरपति नीलग्रवो लोहे पुष्पम च धूपम तथा दीपम देव दयानिधे देवाहनताये। ओम हरे हरे हर महादेव।
Union Minister for Culture G. Kishan Reddy attended the programs organized at Kaladi, the birthplace of Adi Shankaracharya. The minister received warm welcome at Sringeri Mutt. And Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan also performed special prayers at Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh as Prime Minister Modi visited the Kedarnath temple to offer prayers. Speaking on the inauguration of an Adi Shankaracharya Samadhi in Uttarakhand's Kedarnath, Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan said that offering prayers at the shrine will now become easier.
अब बाबा केदार के दर्शन और आसान होंगे और शंकराचार्य जी की समाधि का पुनर्निर्माण किया गया है। अद्वैत के माध्यम से देश को सांस्कृतिक रूप से एक करने का काम और मजबूती से होगा। प्रधानमंत्री जी को बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद।
And well, grand events were organized at the Jyotirlings. For more, we are now joined by my colleagues Shishir, who is joining on Grishnawar in Aurangabad, and also my colleague Shama Mishra who's joining us from Bhimashankar in Pune. Thank you both for joining. First to you, Shishir, give us a sense of the mood at the Jyotirling that you are at.
Well, actually, Amritpal, today is quite a celebration at all the Jyotirling across India here. Once a Jyotirling where I'm standing, it is the Krishneshwar Jyotirling in Aurangabad district of Maharashtra. Now, obviously, this was, as far as the information that we got, is built in 13th century, but later on, due to clashes between different kingdoms here, the temples were actually clashed many times, but later on in 18th century, the temple was, in 17th century, the temple was rebuilt by Queen Ahilya Bai Holkar. First of all, let's take a glimpse of this entire temple here, that it was built in the Maratha Hemadpanthi style, basically. The entire Jyotirling was built here. Well, after that, since that, we have seen many thousands of devotees comes here every day to take a darshan of Jyotirling here. And obviously, as I told you, that this is one of the important Jyotirling here. It's the 12th Jyotirling in the country, and that's the reason when you take a yatra, when you start the pilgrimage of Jyotirling, probably the last stop would be the Krishneshwar Jyotirling. The word Krishneshwar means the Lord of Compassion, it says here. And today also being a very special day when Prime Minister was in Kedarnath, and all the 12 Jyotirling was connected here. The people were actually gathered here, LED screens were set up, and people got to know about the different Jyotirlings in the country here. Obviously, the DD has shown a wide coverage here. Our correspondent was talking about particularly the different Jyotirlings here, so that people got to know about the different aspect of those particular Jyotirling here. And that's what the Prime Minister really try to do here, is try to strengthen the social fabric of this country here. And when I say that, try to strengthen the social fabric, that means it's not just by building the infrastructure projects at the pilgrimage site, but at the same time to make people aware about their culture also and history. And when I say that, I want to quote the Prime Minister's words here. Prime Minister, I quote here, that our cultural heritage centers of faith are being viewed with a deserved and valid prize as they should be, unquote. So obviously that's what the main crux of the entire the event probably can we see here, that obviously India has a rich heritage, has a rich legacy also, and going forward when next generation will rise up, even they should came to know about the work that our ancestors have done. Today Prime Minister also mentioned a very good thing about Adi Shankaracharya and his work, when he said that he tried to connect India, be it Western India to the Eastern India, be it North India to the South India. That's what Adi Shankaracharya has tried to do his, from his work here and from his message here. That's what they bind actual the entire country. Well, today's entire event, if you look at the entire program, if you see here, the people actually, be it south, be it north, east or west, connects together through the social fabric, and probably going forward in ways that their fabric will get strengthened.
Absolutely, and let me go across to Shama. Shama joins us from Pune. Shama, tell us about the Jyotirling that you are at.
Well, Amritpal, we came yesterday over here and we learned a lot of interesting facts about this place. And as we got to know that, there is a huge program that is going to be happening today, we learned a lot about other Jyotirlings as well. So talking about Bhimashankar especially, we know for the fact that the Jyotirlings are the column of light or the pillar of light that were done by the Lord Shiva himself. And we are here at Bhimashankar, which is the paradise for lots of people, the devotees, also the trekkers, and also those people who are wanting to come towards the nature. Talking about this story especially of Bhimashankar, the Jyotirling over here has it's Swambhu, so it's emanated on itself, and after that the entire temple was constructed in and around the Sanctum Sanctorum. Also, the structure of the entire temple is both the mix of modern and the ancient sculpture. We have seen that the sculpture is over here of the Nagara style over here. Also, the Maratha Empire, they have been given a lot of construction support, including for the shikharas, also for the other structures. But the story which goes beyond this construction, and the story that people tell, the tales, the pujaris have also told us that there was a person named Tripura Sura who was the person who had everything, and he worshipped Lord Shiva so much so that Lord Shiva got impressed, and then he gave him a blessing. He asked for a blessing of immortality, but Lord Shiva refused and said that fine, we'll give you one blessing, but that would be of that no man, no woman would be able to kill you. After that, things turned nasty, but then gods took things in matters in their hands, and then the creation of Ardhanareshwar happened, and that's how the slaying of demon Triparasura happened. When that happened, the entire we could say the fight was going on, and in that fight, a lot of heat was generated, and Lord Shiva perspired, and that sweat resulted in Bhimarathi river. So the ancient folklore goes like this. But apart from that, the Bhima Shankar has the temple Bhima Shankar is located more than 3,000 feet above sea level. It is in Pune district, but it is more than 100 kilometers away from that particular main city. And also, like I've also already mentioned, it is a pilgrim's paradise, because when you come here, you cannot come directly and you cannot reach easily. You have to have a vehicle, or even if you are traveling by foot, you have to have a lot of strength, lot of stamina, because it is located on a hill, and it is located in the end of Sahyadri ranges, Sahyadri mountain ranges. So you can imagine this is amidst the nature, amidst the forest, and also this entire area has been declared as wildlife sanctuary, and no illegal construction and everything can happen over here. If you just look outside, there are lakes, there are rivers, and there are dams. So the entire area over here, along with the devotion, you can also have a peak of nature for yourself, and that is why a lot of people, lot of devotees come here, especially from in and around Maharashtra area, because this is one of the Jyotirlingas, and it has the sixth we could say place in the 12 Jyotirlingas. So it becomes very important, and it is also said that once you just look at the Shivling, your all tension or everything just disappears, and you get really happy. And apart from that, we also know that lots of pujas happen over here for people. But connecting it today with today's program, we did see there were a lot of cultural programs that happened over here. The instruments playing, the Kathak ballet happened over here. And apart from that, we'd really like to connect the part where Prime Minister Narendra Modi mentioned that there was a time when spirituality and religion were connected to stereotypes, but now we know for the fact, and we have to go closer to the human philosophy, the Indian philosophy, which connects more to the human welfare. And it is time to go back to our roots, and if not go back, then connect to our roots. And this is that place which can connect you to the roots, because it's all forest area. You cannot have illegal stuff. Even the plastics are banned over here. So yes, definitely people can come here with their devotion, as well as they can also have a peak of the nature. So the Jyotirlinga over here holds a lot of importance, especially when you're wanting to come close to the nature, especially when the entire country, entire world is facing the crisis of corona, facing the crisis of COVID cases. So people do have this route as an escape route, both for devotion as well as the nature's if we could say paradise or enjoyment.
Okay, Shama, before I go back to Shishir, I'd like to ask you about the Bhima Shankar Jyotirling where you are. Tell us more about its architecture. When was it built? Who built it?
When we learnt about the entire architecture, like I've already mentioned, it is of the Nagara style, and we can see that this was not built in just one go. The entire temple was not built in one go.
Okay.
There were phases in which the temple was built. So the Sanctum Sanctorum, where the Shivling had emanated, that part was created at the first place, and after that the entire area around the Sanctum Sanctorum was built. Then outside what we call as the veranda, or the outer space, that was built. So you can, if you see the structures, if you see the pillars, you can see the structures of humans, structures of gods and goddesses on those pillars. And apart from that, if you go out, you can see the shikara, which is of the stone and made in they call it as modern, but it has already been built in before 1960s. So yes, as I've already spoken about Maratha Empire, a lot of Maratha well-known rulers have contributed to the construction, have contributed to the welfare of the entire temple. So, like I've mentioned, that Nana Fadnavis, he had given the temple the support that it needed to be constructed. Apart from that, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj had also supported for the welfare of the temple. Also, Chimaji Appa from the Maratha Empire, when he won the war against the Portuguese, and it was in 1971 when he won the war against the Portuguese, and it was in Vasai that he took 5 big huge bells, and that was offered to various temples, and one of which is Bhima Shankar. So if you just come out of the temple, you will see that Portuguese ancient bell, which also has the carving of 1971 written on it. So we say it is an ancient and modern architecture mix over here, but yes, if you come here, you would definitely feel that this place holds a lot of important place, lots of important place, with a viewpoint of ancient, with a viewpoint of history, and if you come here, you will get a lot of information, as well as the silence and peace that we require today.
Okay. Shishir, you were talking about the Prime Minister's message of a cultural connect countrywide. That's what primarily what Adi Shankaracharya tried to do, by linking the 16 Jyotirlings, the 4 maths or the monasteries in east, west, north and south of the country. Do you see a cultural consciousness when you speak to the pilgrims who were there today? Is there a sense of a unified oneness of belongingness that you see when you talk to them?
Well, absolutely. If you look at the crux of what the Prime Minister has said here, it simply means that the culture and the heritage that we have, which have been seen since last so many years here, it has got history of thousands of years, and going forward for the next generation, when we tell that probably this is the exact connect that probably the people of this country will connect to this country, to this country and its history and its culture here. Well, obviously, we have talked about Jyotirlings, we talk about all the temples here, but the core factor is that how these have been connected, how this is connected to the people as well. That's what the most important here. When I said that we are doing a development of a pilgrimage, or we are making a circuit. For example, it's we talk about the Buddha circuit, or we talk about the Jyotirlings that probably which have been developed here at various places here. The most important factor is that how people have been connected to the entire, these entire places here. Be it in South India, probably today we have seen here the Jyotirling at Rameshwara. The other one probably was in Gujarat. We've also seen in Uttarakhand, where Kedarnath, where Prime Minister have laid the foundation stone here. So actually people get connected to these particular holy places here, and that's what the belongingness comes here. And that's what probably people try to do, that's what the government try to do here, that is obviously developing these places is one thing, but at the same time cultivating those belongingness among them is also one of the important aspect when we talk about our culture here. And that's the reason, be it the Jyotirling. First of all, I want to show these visuals here again, because that's what the most people want to see here, those who cannot see Jyotirlinga, because we have seen a pandemic situation here. So for those people, actually want to show this visual again here. So I was talking to you again, when we talk about this cultural connect, that's probably mean that people should get to know about this cultural aspect that we have here going back in history. And when we move onward, because we're talking about the 21st century, we talk about the development in the country. At the same time, we should not forget our root, basically, where it has been rooted quite deeply, especially our culture, basically, that we have seen here. And where do we get to know about this? Well, obviously, these kind of places, the ancient histories that we've heard about, Jyotirlinga, how it was developed, what was the fact, what is the reason behind it. So all these things need to be understood here. When we talk about Adi Shankaracharya, he does absolutely good work when connecting the different dots of this country here. He connects the Western India to the eastern, the southern part of the country to the northern part of the country. As what example the Prime Minister has also given here, that a priest in the Rameshwaram is from Maharashtra, whereas a priest from Kedarnath probably is from north here. So obviously it how cultivate their own culture in different parts of the country. Obviously we all belong to one soil here, and that's the reason these different cultures that probably are following need to be understood by the others also, and that's how the harmony in the society will persist here. It's not just about creating your infrastructure for your own religion here, but at the same time understanding it, and obviously going forward that how we can gel together. That's what the main aspect here. This is the one aspect that probably Prime Minister have also focused on. But the second aspect that we're talking about is how to reach to these places here. Now, Amritpal, you must be knowing that reaching Kedarnath a few years back probably a very hard task, especially for the elderly. But even those people want to go to those areas, be it Kedarnath, Badrinath, Amarnath. These are the areas that people want to go there. Obviously, because of the old age and many of the problems, they could not travel in such a stretch here. But now what the governments try to do is try to ease this traveling scenario here. And that's the reason if you try to go to even in Kedarnath, probably in Amarnath, or probably somewhere in Rameshwar, you can easily reach there. Well, when I was covering this entire event here, the Minister of Railways, Minister of Railways, Minister of State, Rao Saheb Danvi was here, and he said quite important thing. He said that obviously the government is doing various aspects here to connect the dot here, but at the same time creating infrastructure is most important so that people can reach there, and that's what the government is doing. So far, so many years has not been done here, and probably even I could not see some of the places here, though I want to see, I want to know about the history. And when the government intervened and try to does things quite easy for the people here, probably people may travel there, people will go there, understand their culture, understand the history, and that's how you can see that a cultural connect between different parts of this country among people. And that's what the basic thing that the governments try to do here. So we should not just see it as an infrastructure development, but also as a cultural development going forward.
Absolutely. Shishir, we'll leave it there. Shishir and Shama, thank you very much for joining us and giving us those updates from the Jyotirlings where you are. And time for us to slip into a short break in Midday Prime. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go away.
As the day unfolds and news and events take shape, we get you complete coverage of every news breaking in, tracking new developments as they happen. Midday Prime English, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. on DD India.
Welcome back, and we're talking about the Prime Minister going to Kedarnath and launching many developmental projects there. But who really was Adi Shankaracharya? Adi Shankaracharya was an Indian philosopher and a theologian. He was born in the 8th century. His works had a strong impact and on the doctrine of Advaita Vedanta. That's the doctrine that he propounded, and he founded the 4 maths or monasteries in all the 4 parts of the countries, the north, the west, the north, the south, the west, the east. He founded 12 Jyotirlings or sacred Shiv temples from where our correspondents were reporting. He connected the dots all across the country, to raise a cultural consciousness of the country. He was founder of the Dashnami monastic order. That's the monastic order that he founded. He unified the Sharmat tradition of worship, or the six sects tradition of worship. He basically re-established and unified the Shaiv and the Vaishnav sects of the Hindu religion, or the Sanatan Dharma. Over 300 texts are attributed to his name, including the Brahma Sutra Bhashya. He had many commentaries. And Adi Shankaracharya basically was born in Kerala, in Kaladi, which is now in Kochi, and later moved first to Kashi and later at Kedarnath. So basically propounding the philosophy of and re-establishing the order of the unification of the Atma with the Nirgun Brahman, or the soul, with the entire cosmos, and that's what he propounded. And well, now time to move on to our next segment, which we call the National Crime segment. A day after the festival of Diwali, capital city Delhi's air quality has turned toxic, with tremendous rise in the level of pollutants. According to Safa India, Delhi's PM10 has jumped to 631 and PM2.5 at 461. Despite a complete ban on sale and bursting of firecrackers, several people in the capital were seen bursting crackers. Delhi's air quality has become severe and is expected to improve after 3 days. So if you can try not to go out, keep your windows shut and doors shut, your house is closed, because the air outside is toxic and is in the severe category, is very, very harmful for your lungs. And the IMD, or the Indian Meteorological Department, has said that the minimum temperature would not vary much in the next 3 to 4 days. Speaking on the existing weather conditions of Delhi, the DGM of IMD, R.K. Janamani, said that no wind and high moisture is causing fog-like conditions.
टेम्परेचर जो है अभी ज़्यादा कम नहीं होगा, मतलब 3-4 दिन तक जो है 13-14 के अंदर रहेगा, क्योंकि एक के बाद एक जो वीक वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस होता है वो निकल रहा है, ठीक है ना। अभी सेकंड वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस आज जम्मू कश्मीर के आसपास है, लाइट रेन स्नो होगा, तो इसीलिए ये जो पीरियड है पोल्यूशन के लिए मीटरोलॉजिकल फैक्टर अनफेवरेबल है, ना विंड है और उसके साथ साथ मॉइस्चर भी ज़्यादा है, ठीक है ना। नो विंड एंड मॉइस्चर ज़्यादा होता है, स्टेबल एटमॉस्फेयर है, इसके वजह से फॉग और स्मोक कंडीशन बन रहा है।
Several states announced additional reductions in fuel prices after the central government cut excise duty on petrol and diesel on the eve of Diwali. Since states charge local sales tax, or VAT, not just on the base price but also on the excise duty levied by the centre, the total incidence of price reduction is higher. While Gujarat, Assam, Tripura, Manipur, Karnataka and Goa reduced the prices of both petrol and diesel by 7 rupees per litre, in addition to the centre's 5 rupees and 10 rupees relief, Uttarakhand reduced the VAT by 2 rupees. In Odisha, VAT has been reduced by 3 rupees per litre on both petrol and diesel. It has been cut by 3.20 per litre on petrol in Bihar and 3.90 on diesel. Further, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana governments on Thursday said that the prices of diesel and petrol in the state will be reduced by 12 rupees per litre each. And India has urged the global community to make solar power the priority in energy deployment at COP26 Climate Summit in Glasgow in the United Kingdom. Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change Bhupendra Yadav urged that the grid interconnection will play a key role in revamping regional cooperation and transition to the low-carbon power system. He was speaking at a special event organized by the International Solar Alliance in partnership with the UK under the theme Green Grid Initiative, One Sun, One World, One Grid. All the speakers wholeheartedly supported the solar initiative announced jointly by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister of UK Boris Johnson at COP26. Bollywood star Shah Rukh Khan's son Aryan Khan appeared before the NCB to mark his weekly presence before the agency. According to the conditions set by the Bombay High Court for granting bail to Aryan Khan in the drugs on the cruise case, he has to mark his presence every Friday before the NCB. Aryan Khan was released from the Mumbai Arthur Road prison on October 30th after spending 22 days in jail. Let's now take a look at the COVID-19 situation across the country. Well, the recovery of 12,165 patients in the last 24 hours has increased the cumulative tally of recovered patients since the beginning of the pandemic to 3,37,24,959. Consequently, India's recovery rate stands at 98.23%. Sustained and collaborative efforts by the centre and the states and UTs continue the trend of less than 50,000 daily new cases that are being reported over 131 consecutive days now. 12,729 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. The active caseload is presently at 1,48,922. Active cases presently constitute 0.43% of the country's total positive cases, which is the lowest since March 2020. The testing capacity across the country continues to be expanded. The last 24 hours saw a total of 6,70,847 tests being conducted. India so far has conducted over 61.30 crore cumulative tests. While testing capacity has been enhanced across the country, the weekly positivity rate at 1.25% remains less than 2% for the last 42 days now. The daily positivity rate reported to be 1.90%. The daily positivity rate has remained below 2% for the last 32 days and below 3% for 67 consecutive days now. And with the administration of 5,65,276 vaccine doses in the last 24 hours, India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has exceeded 107.7 crore till 7 a.m. this morning. This has been achieved through 1 crore 8,69,517 sessions. Cumulatively, 107 crore 70,46,116 beneficiaries have been inoculated so far. More than 116.5 crore vaccine doses have been provided to states and UTs so far. More than 15.54 crore balance in unutilized COVID vaccine doses are still available with the states and union territories, which are yet to be administered. And India's glorious fight for freedom is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. In today's episode of Saga of Freedom, we recall the role of freedom fighter Chittaranjan Das on his birth anniversary. And today we remember the Lion of Bombay, Firoz Shah Mehta, who died on the 5th of November 1915. Take a look.
In today's episode, we remember freedom fighter, political activist, scholar and poet Chittaranjan Das, who was born on 5th November 1870. Popularly known as Deshbandhu, Das was a close associate of Mahatma Gandhi and founder leader of the Swaraj Party in Bengal.
In London, he befriended Sri Aurobindo Ghosh, Atul Prasad Sen and Sarojini Naidu among others, and together they promoted Dadabhai Nauroji in the British Parliament. In 1894, in a stunning move, Chittaranjan Das gave up his lucrative legal practice and plunged headlong into the independence movement against the British colonial government.
Chittaranjan Das successfully defended Aurobindo Ghosh on charges of involvement in the Alipur bomb case in 1909. In his Uttarpara speech, Sri Aurobindo gratefully acknowledged that Chittaranjan Das saved him. Chittaranjan Das was actively involved in the activities of Anushilan Samiti. He was a leading figure in Bengal during the non-cooperation movement of 1919 to 1922 and initiated the boycott of British-made clothes, setting an example by burning his own European clothes and wearing khadi.
C.R. Das was elected as the first mayor of Calcutta Municipal Corporation in 1924. He was a believer in non-violence and constitutional methods for the realization of national independence and advocated Hindu-Muslim unity, cooperation and communal harmony and championed the cause of national education. Chittaranjan Das emerged as a distinguished Bengali poet when, during the troubled days of the national movement, he published the first 2 volumes of his collection of poems titled Malancha and Mala. In 1913, he published Sagar Sangeet, the songs of the sea.
নামিয়ে নাও জ্ঞানের বোঝা সইতে নারী বোঝার ভার আমার সকল অঙ্গ হাঁপিয়ে উঠে নয়নে ফেরে অন্ধকার।
In 1925, Chittaranjan's health began to fail due to overwork. Chittaranjan went to Darjeeling to recuperate his health. Mahatma Gandhi visited him and stayed with him for some days. Deshbandhu Chittaranjan Das passed away on 16th of June 1925.
আজি হৃদয় মোর ছিঁড়েছে বন্ধন।
The funeral procession in Calcutta was led by Mahatma Gandhi, who said that Deshbandhu was one of the greatest of men who dreamed and talked of freedom of India and of nothing else. C.R. Das's heart knew no difference between Hindus and Muslims, and that he bore no ill will to even Englishmen.
প্রভাতে জাগ্রত হৃদি শেষ করো গান আমার জীবন ভরা বিশ্বের আহ্বান।
Today we remember the Lion of Bombay, Firoz Shah Mehta, who died on 5th November 1915. He was born on 4th August 1845 in Bombay and graduated from Elphinstone College in 1864. Mehta went to Lincoln's Inn in London to study law.
After coming back to India, he raised the need for reforms of the Bombay municipal government and wrote the Bombay Municipal Act of 1872, earning him the title of Father of Bombay Municipality. He became the Municipal Commissioner of Bombay Municipality in 1873 and its president 4 times.
Mehta was one of the founding members and president of the Indian National Congress in 1890, held in Calcutta. He published the Bombay Chronicle, which detailed the treatment of Indians in South Africa.
When Gandhi arrived in India, Firoz Shah Mehta presided over a public meeting to welcome him on January 12, 1915. He died later that year in Bombay.
On November the 5th, 1945, the INA trials began at the Red Fort. The surviving members of the INA were tried by the British colonial government for treason. However, the decision to make the Red Fort trials public proved to be a grave miscalculation on the part of the British, as it led to a new wave of nationalism.
The progress of the trial led to mutiny within the British Army, most notable being the mutiny of the Royal Indian Navy. Although the mutiny was quickly put down, the British realized that they were effectively losing the support of the British Indian Army, the very institution that kept them in power for so long.
And let's now take a look at what is making news across the globe. Portugal's President And Portugal's President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa called a snap general election for January 30th, a week after Parliament threw out minority socialist government's 2022 budget bill, ending 6 years of relative political stability. The socialist former left-wing allies, the Left Bloc, and the Communists rejected the budget along with all right-wing parties. Rebelo de Sousa said that the rejection left the ruling party alone. He said that the Portuguese wanted the budget to be approved at a time when Portugal is recovering from COVID-19 pandemic, and that the situation left him with no other option but to dissolve the parliament and call an election. Rebelo de Sousa said that the election campaign is likely to start shortly after New Year's Day. Aimed at reviving the landmark 2015 nuclear deal between Iran and 6 other nations are to resume this month. Iran's chief negotiator Ali Bagheri Khani in Twitter yesterday said that Iran had agreed to start the negotiations aimed at removal of unlawful and inhumane sanctions on the 29th of November in Vienna. The discussions have been on hold since the elections of Iran's new hardline president in June. The U.S. pulled out of the deal under President Donald Trump, but Washington has since said that it could consider rejoining. The Biden administration said it will attend the Vienna meet along with the remaining signatories, that's United Kingdom, China, France, Germany, and Russia. And leaders from across the world extended their greetings on the occasion of Diwali. In the United Kingdom, a £5 coin was issued by Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, to commemorate the life and legacy of Mahatma Gandhi. Extending Diwali wishes to India, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson in a video message said that Britain would be a lesser country today without the huge contribution of Indians living here. US President Joe Biden attended extended Diwali greetings. In a tweet, Biden said that may the light of Diwali remind us that from darkness there is knowledge, wisdom and truth, from division, unity, from despair, hope, to Hindus, Sikhs, Jains and Buddhists celebrating in America and around the world, from the people's house to yours, happy Diwali, unquote. And U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris also extended greetings of Diwali in a special message. The U.S. Vice President said that the festival reminds us of our sacred values.
Greetings, everyone. I want to extend my warmest wishes for a happy Diwali to everyone celebrating the Festival of Lights here in the United States and around the world. This year, Diwali arrives with even deeper meaning. In the midst of a devastating pandemic, the holiday reminds us of our nation's most sacred values, our gratitude for the love of family and friends, our responsibility to lend a hand to those in need, and our strength to choose light over darkness, to seek knowledge and wisdom, and to be a source of goodness and grace. Let's remember to honor the light within one another. From our family to yours, I wish you a joyous Diwali.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has thanked Prime Minister of Israel, Naftali Bennett, for his Diwali greetings. In a reply to Bennett's tweet, Prime Minister Modi tweeted, and I quote, "Thank you, my dear friend Naftali Bennett, for the wonderful greetings. Wishing you a very happy Diwali too," unquote. And now it's time for stories from the world of sports. And my colleague Deepika joins us for more on the sports segments. Tell us, Deepika, what's making news in the world of sports?
Let's quickly Take a look at all what is happening in the world of sports. So starting with cricket first, India will look to notch another big win in order to keep alive their semi-final hopes when they take on Scotland in a Super 12 clash of the 2021 T20 World Cup in Dubai today. Having beaten Afghanistan by 66 runs on Wednesday, India will be keen to secure an easy victory against the Scots. After losing to arch rivals Pakistan in their opener and then to New Zealand in their next game, Virat Kohli-led India cannot afford any more slip-up in this tournament. India must win their remaining 2 games while maintaining high run rates and hope for New Zealand to slip up against Namibia or Afghanistan in order to harbour hopes of a semi-final berth. Against Scotland, India are likely to retain the same lineup that thrashed Afghanistan by 66 runs in Abu Dhabi. Defending champions West Indies are officially out of the ongoing ICC T20 World Cup in the UAE after not being able to enter the top 4. Sri Lanka beat West Indies by 20 runs in the match played in Abu Dhabi. Playing first, Sri Lanka scored 189 runs in the allotted 22 overs. In reply, West Indies team could only make 169. Hetmyer scored an unbeaten 81 for the Caribbean team. However, he could not secure a victory for the team, and followed by the result, Dwayne Bravo announced retirement from international cricket. And leg spinner Adam Zampa's 5-wicket haul and captain Aaron Finch's innings helped Australia beat Bangladesh by 8 wickets with 82 balls to spare in the T20 Cricket World Cup. With this win, Australia kept their hopes of reaching the semi-finals alive. Batting first, Bangladesh were all out for 73 runs and 15 overs. Australia also improved their net run rate by scoring 78 for 2 and 6.2 overs. Finch scored 40 runs and 20 balls with the help of 2 fours and 4 sixes. Australia now have the same 6 points as South Africa in 4 matches. Finch's team, however, has moved up to number 2 ahead of South Africa due to a better run rate. And that's all for now in sports. Over to you, Amritpal.
Thank you, Deepika, for that. And that's it then in Midday Prime. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Namaskar.